right, I'm back. And so I'm working on the LS-swapped E34, and I figure I should probably just answer a question that I get all the time, which is how am I running a BMW transmission behind a Chevy LS? So this transmission is a GS653BZ from a BMW 335 or a 535. Basically anything with a N54, if it had a manual, it had this transmission. But the one problem is, much to nobody's surprise, a transmission that was designed for the N54 does not fit directly onto the back of an LS. And so, like I said, there is an adapter plate that you can buy from the guys at PMC Motorsports. And then for Flywheel, you can't use your factory LS flywheel. You have to use this PMC Motorsports flywheel for a number of reasons. One, because of the stack height, you need to be able to get the clutch to an acceptable height for the input shaft to actually interface with it. And then the other thing to take note of with this flywheel is that there are no teeth on this flywheel. So this flywheel actually mounts on top of the flex plate, and then it uses the teeth from the flex plate to actually turn the engine on. So I'm gonna do kind of a product overview for you guys, kind of explain how the system works and show you how to install it. I already have part of it installed, but I still got to get the flywheel and clutch on there, so I figured I'd make the video so that you can see exactly what you're getting in the package if you were to order one of these. All right, so the first step is that we actually got to take the flywheel off of our factory LS. And so this car was an automatic, so it doesn't have a flywheel per se. It has a flex plate, but that's actually a benefit because we need this flex plate to work with our flywheel from PMC Motorsport. So let me get this off of here, and then I'll kind of explain what I was talking about. All right, so now that we got the bolts off of here, we actually don't need to take the flex plate out because this actually just mounts over the top of it. And so the reason for that is that this flywheel essentially just gives you the same mounting surface or the same flywheel pattern as a BMW N54. But if you'll notice, there are no teeth on this thing. There's no way to engage the starter on this. So you still need to keep this flex disc because it still has the teeth for the starter engagement. And then once you have the flywheel bolted on, things are actually pretty easy in terms of clutch selection, because essentially what you have is an LS engine with a N54 flywheel on it. And then at that point, you can just order any clutch combination that you would use on a factory N54 car. So you can just go to ECS or FCP Euro, type in a 135i or a 335i, and whatever clutch you want to choose from Spec or Clutch Masters or whoever, it'll be compatible with this entire setup. All right, so this is the clutch I went with. This is a Clutch Masters FX350 for the BMW N54, and this clutch is rated for 110% over stock capacity. So basically, we're looking at 550 to like 650 foot-pounds of torque. I know when it comes to speccing out clutches for N54s, a lot of people will always tell you to just go with the 550i clutch. The only thing that I'll say about that clutch is that you have to remember that it was designed for dual mass flywheels. So if you're like me and you have a single mass flywheel because you're doing an LS swap, or you just put a single mass flywheel on your N54, you're going to need to get a clutch that has a sprung hub. All right, so pretty much done with the engine at this point. Flywheel, clutch installed. Nothing really too exciting. I was very nervous doing the flywheel bolts. I don't know why. It's kind of like when I did the head studs. I was afraid I was going to break something. But yeah, it went fine. Nothing really too interesting. So the next thing is to kind of prepare the transmission. So I need to get a new clutch pivot pin in it, and also get a clutch master cylinder, because you can probably see my finger through here. So get that back in there. And then there's like a fork that goes across. I'll show you guys. And that is what actuates the teeth or the fingers on this clutch. And then after that, we should be able to put the whole thing together. It's starting to get dark. Hopefully I'm able to get this done before it gets too dark, and there's like 15,000 mosquitoes out here, and there's a whole thing. All right, right, so the next thing is I got to get this clutch fork in there. The thing is that with this throwout bearing, there's actually two sides to it. Hopefully you can see this. So this side that has a diamond on it is larger than this side that does not. So this low side here is the part that goes up, and so we'll just pop that on here like so. There we go. And before we put that fork all the way in there, we need to put this spring in here. So hopefully you can see in there that pivot pin that I showed earlier has a groove around it. And the purpose of that is that it holds on this clip so that the clutch fork doesn't fall off inside of the bell housing. All right, so I got the flywheel and clutch in there. I kind of struggled getting the gearbox back on the back of the engine with the flywheel. But I eventually got it back on there. It's starting to get a little dark. There's like 10 million mosquitoes out. So I'm probably gonna cut things off here. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next episode where I will work on putting that transmission back in and getting the shifter to come out in the right place, because that's gonna be the next challenge, man.